You've asked for it, so it is time, once again, to dive deep into the world of budget backpacking gear. Recently, so many of you have commented on my videos asking me to review good budget value backpacking gear. So starting with this video, I am on a quest to find the best value backpacking kit that won't break the budget. And we are starting with a brand that so many of you have asked me to review, a brand that I have actually never used before, and that is Decathlon. This is my show, gosh darn. Let's be honest. Backpacking gear can be super expensive. And for a lot of people, when you're first starting out, myself included, the actual cost of backpacking gear is the biggest barrier to entry. So I have set out to find the best value backpacking gear. And I'm starting off with a brand that many of you have asked me to test out. So I went and bought this box full of Decathlon gear that I have never ever used before so that I can take it on a backpacking trip. Look at this view. Let all of you know what I think. If you haven't heard of Decathlon before, they are the largest outdoor retailer in the world. They don't have as much of a presence in the US as they do in other countries, but they do operate in 72 different countries around the world. And they are also known for making some of the highest quality and most affordable gear, which brings us to this video. Now, before you ask, this video is not sponsored by Decathlon. I purchased all of this gear with my own money, so all of the opinions in this video, as is true for all of my videos, are fully my own. So with that, let's take a look at my budget kit from Decathlon. We're gonna find the good, the bad, the cheap. Name that movie. Cheap. All right, do you wanna know what I got?
Yeah.
We are starting off with the pack that I picked up from Decathlon. This is the women's 4-class MT100 Easy Fit 50-liter pack. For the sake of this video, we will just be calling it my backpack, because that's a really long name. This backpack costs only $100, and this is a 50-liter pack. It's definitely a little bit heavy, but it has these pretty cool stays in the back and a very adjustable system with the harness. Cool, right? That actually can be fit by putting the backpack on rather than having to adjust it ahead of time. There are a number of really cool pockets on this bag, and there's a lot of little neat features that I really like. But just want to start by saying that for $100, I am already super excited about this pack.
What color would you say that is?
Maroon rose.
It actually has the wonderful, lush, full color of a California Cabernet.
Oh my God, get out. Comes with a rain cover. It's got a meshy, stretchy bungee cord. It's got some side pockets. It has one water bottle pocket only, which is insulting, but that's okay, I forgive them. Oh, this really cool thing, it has panel loading. So you can actually unzip the backpack, use it kind of like a suitcase. And it has a separate compartment for your sleeping bag, which is something I almost never use, but I will probably have to use for this pack. That is the pack. Let's move on to one of the biggest things that's going into my pack, and that is my sleeping bag. This is the Decathlon 4-class sleeping bag Trek 500. This is a 0 degrees Celsius sleeping bag, so 32 degrees Fahrenheit for the Americans. You know what? In honor of Decathlon being a European company, I will be doing this entire video in Celsius. This entire video will be metric.
Really?
Yes.
Are you ready to be metric?
I commit to it.
All right, what temperature is it outside right now?
36 degrees Celsius?
No.
This is a synthetic sleeping bag, and as you can probably see, it doesn't compress very small. This bag is normally about $100, but I got it on sale for 60 bucks. So this sleeping bag comes in a compression sack like this. I'm actually going to unpack this from my compression sack and just shove it into the bottom compartment of this pack. And I'm hoping that that works okay. Let's move on to my sleeping pad. This is the 4-class trekking pad. This is the MT100. The R value on this is 2.7, which really makes this a summer sleeping pad. It's maybe 3 season if you live in a really hot area. But for me, this is not generally as high of an R value as I like to have on my sleeping pads. This is a self-inflating sleeping pad, meaning that, let me pull it out of this bag like this, you open it up, you pop open a couple of these valves right here, and the sleeping pad will mostly inflate on its own. Also in this little bag, I have my pillow. This pillow here cost only $10, $9.99, and I'm actually super excited about this. Look at how huge this thing is. Is that enormous? That's like, it's huge. In the world of budget stuff, we often talk about this triangle of value in terms of strong, light, and cheap, where gear is generally not all three of those things. You have to like pick two of them. So it's either strong and light, or it is light and it is cheap, or it is strong and it is cheap. From what I understand about Decathlon, almost all of their gear fits into the cheap and strong category. Like, this is durable, well-made gear that is supposed to last a long time. Most of this stuff has a 5-year warranty, and it's inexpensive. But that often means that is kind of heavy. This weighs 820 grams.
I do not know what that means.
I'm metric right now, thank you. That is about 1 pound, 14 ounces for the Americans. It is a bit on the heavy side for sure, but hopefully it's really cozy, and that doesn't matter. So that is the big stuff that I'm taking on my trip. I have a lot of other little things in here, so I'm just gonna really quickly show them to you. We have this ultralight titanium mug that I will also be using as a pot. We have a rechargeable 200 lumen headlamp, some very lightweight camp shoes that I am so excited about, a very affordable wool t-shirt, a pair of very lightweight hiking pants, this cozy fleece jacket, a extremely heavy rain jacket, ta-da! And then we also have a pair of hiking shoes. These shoes feel really high quality, like they just feel durable. You can tell that they're well cushioned. I love the soles on them. They're also waterproof, which I don't tend to go for waterproof hiking shoes. These hiking shoes were also only $60, which is incredibly affordable for hiking shoes. We have one final thing in this box, and that is the Decathlon 4-class down hoodie. I did a video last year comparing a cheap down jacket to a more expensive jacket and talking about which one was most worth the cost. And almost all of the comments on that video were asking why I hadn't tested out the 4-class down hoodie. I heard all of you. This jacket is extremely popular. It costs only $100. And from a lot of the reviews that I have read, people say that it is just as good as other jackets that are nearly 4 times the cost. Now that's like a pretty lofty claim, but I am really excited to test this and see what I think of it, and then obviously report back to all of you. Now, you might have noticed that I didn't mention a tent. Decathlon actually doesn't sell backpacking tents here in the US, so I'm using a different budget backpacking tent from a different brand, and that is...
Sorry, I thought you were gonna grab it. Should we do that again? We're safe.
We should probably do it again. The REI Trailmade 2-person tent. This is the most affordable backpacking tent that REI makes. You'll actually be seeing a lot more of this tent in a future video where I'll be backpacking with only budget gear from REI, but I'll also be using it in this video because I wanted to stick with a budget tent with all of my budget Decathlon gear rather than chucking in like a really expensive ultralight tent. Now the next step is to get all of this gear along with the rest of my backpacking stuff into this pack. I'm not gonna lie, this is gonna be a little bit of a challenge, so I'm gonna take some time to properly pack it, and then I will see all of you at the trailhead for our backpacking trip tomorrow. Let's go! Zoom zoom, packing, hooray!
Can you say that in French?
Le zoom zoom, le packing, le hooray! Woo! This is actually gonna be okay. So I packed up all of my Decathlon gear along with my budget tent. And now I just need to gather the rest of my backpacking gear and finish packing this bag. I'm gonna go to sleep and I will see you all tomorrow morning for our backpacking trip. What's this say? 31 pounds? Is that real? 31 pounds! Oh my God, I'm actually really impressed. There's a lot of heavy gear in here. Packing this bag was quite a challenge, and it's like stuffed to the brim. So I actually have a bunch of things strapped to the outside. There's no hip belt pocket on this side. Isn't that funny? It's just totally blank. And then the other hip belt pocket is pretty packed with snacks and sunscreen and insect repellent and other stuff. I have my pee stuff attached, obviously, and then I just have the poles to my tent, and the stakes, and then the single water bottle pocket for my Nalgene. I will show you more about how I pack this stuff on the inside once we get to camp. Let's hike. All right, bud, go. Bridge, 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 woohoo! We stopped for some water. This is the very cool thing about this backpack. Bam, Nalgene pocket, genius. It is quite hot out right now. I think it's only maybe in the high 70s or something, but we're just, for the most part, in direct sunlight. We're for sure all feeling it, Tucker especially with his heavy fur coat.
Got a wedgie?
No, I got a sweaty crack.
Let's talk about the blue skies.
Look at these beautiful blue flowers. Tiny wildflowers. Something dandelions, the lamest of all wildflowers.
Maybe they're just underappreciated.
No, listen, I don't like everything, okay?
You're a dandelion Scrooge! Whoa!
Oi! River crossing! I pee. Hooray! Thank you. When I was peeing back there, there's a plant that smelled exactly like a turkey sandwich. Halfway! Ah! It's a beautiful day, and nothing's standing in your way. Something, 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 something. So we have hiked just over a mile, and my initial impression of all the Decathlon gear that I am wearing is that I am super impressed. These shoes are actually very, very comfortable, despite the fact that they're a bit hot. These pants are so lightweight and breathable, super stretchy. This wool t-shirt, it is incredibly breathable, so comfortable, and that's like coming from a very sweaty human being. And this pack, it is carrying 30 pounds of weight so well. It doesn't really have very many pockets, and that is a definite problem with this bag. But initial first impression, everything I'm wearing from Decathlon, super comfortable.
Blue steel, Miranda, blue steel.
Blue steel, I'm ready. 3, 2, 1. That's 1 mile in on the trail. We still have another 1.5 miles to go. Onward! Woo! Eyeball, eyeball, nose, smile. Whew. This trail is short, but it is quite steep. I miss my fanny pack. Oh, sorry, Brits. I miss my belt bag. I think that's what Gen Z calls it. I feel like that just has like more riz. You know what I mean? Got!
No, none of this.
Skibbity! Oh, I'm sorry.
How do you do, fellow kids?
This is us. That's our camp. If it isn't just the cutest river crossing in a field of wildflowers. Quick moment of appreciation for Rainer, who is squatting down in the dirt right now, filming this beautiful little stream we just crossed, like a little golem, like a little toad. Clever hobbits! Wow! Holy cow! Whoa! Look at this view! Look at this! It's amazing! So we have officially entered the basin, and we are surrounded by these incredible peaks. Enough talking, time to get to camp. Oh, and this beautiful field, all this grass. Oh, and all these plants. Ah. Okay, all right, what did I just say? Oh, gosh. I can see our campsites, and it looks like we might be the only ones here tonight. Oh my gosh. This is stunning. Wow. I really want to scream, welcome to camp, but there's 2 people down by the river, so I'm not going to yell it, but welcome to camp. Wow. Oh my gosh, look at this view. Holy crap. Oh. So I told you that I would show you how I managed to pack this bag once we got to camp. So now that we are here, let me show you how I stuffed all of that big bulky gear into this 50-liter pack. Boom, look at it.
Why does it feel like you're like opening up a cadaver?
I was thinking the same thing, or like dissecting a frog or something. In here, I have my fleece from Decathlon that I'm actually gonna put on right now because it's kind of cold. Ooh. Okay, yeah, this is cozy. Also in here, I have my sleeping pad that also has my pillow packed into it. And then I have a couple of other little things like the sleeping bag liner that I'm gonna be using. The sleeping bag that I have is rated to 0 degrees Celsius, which is like 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's supposed to get down into the high 30s tonight. So I wanted to bring a sleeping bag liner so I could really be testing the Decathlon sleeping bag at a temperature that it's designed to be comfortable at versus like hoping it keeps me warm at a temperature that's maybe a little cold for the bag. So that's also why I have the closed cell foam sleeping pad. It's just to add some additional warmth to my full sleep system. Oh, we have my down jacket. And then I also have my bear canister shoved in the middle of this pack. Then I have the rain fly of my tent and the body of my tent. And then a couple of things like sleep pants, which many of you called me out for not bringing sleep clothes on a recent video. So here are my sleep pants. So the brain of this pack is stuffed with a ton of smaller things that I would have normally sort of divided between different pockets on my usual packs. But since this pack doesn't have a ton of pockets, everything got jammed into the brain of this pack. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull it all out to show it to you. But I am also gonna lay down my sleeping pad first so that I have a place to throw things. In here we have my water filter, my poop kit, Garmin InReach, Cosmic Wimp Out. So I did bring a game. 2 packets of LMNT, my first aid kit, snack bar, my headlamp, a bracelet making kit, a 7-ounce bag of gummy worms, and a little cool towel. Now that I've unloaded that, the next step is to go ahead and pull out my tent and get my tent set up. Easy. I have a feeling that this ground is not going to be easy to stake. Literally could not have been more wrong. That was like the easiest stake job ever. He's suspicious. Now let me actually read what this says. Blowing it up, they tell you to just blow your mouth into it. Don't put it in the sun. Don't use a bike pump. Don't use the things that you start fires with. Don't use a trash can. I was going to leave it open to self-inflate, but this tells me to blow it up with my mouth. That is full. This is a thin sleeping pad. Look at that. Great. Well, that is the sleeping pad done. Let me go ahead and grab my sleeping bag. Boom. All right. Oh my gosh. I haven't even used this and it's already covered in Tucker hair. How does that even happen? Last but not least, the pillow. Looks cozy. You know what I can tell already I won't love?
You're quick on a bag of Lay's potato chips.
Seriously. I'm not gonna judge too quickly. I haven't spent a night on it. Maybe it's wonderful. We're just gonna shove it into my sleeping bag. Now, basically the next stuff that I wanna do is really start thinking about making my dinner, boiling water in that teeny tiny pot that I brought, and also just enjoying these incredible camp shoes. Boom.
Oh, there's my shadow. Hi, my shadow.
The food that I have for dinner is this Thai peanut curry with roasted vegetables from Pinnacle Foods. The pot that I'm using is this tiny, tiny titanium mug from Decathlon. Wait a second, so since this mug is from Europe, it only has milliliters on here. So how much is 1¼ cups in milliliters?
This is everyone who's ever asked us to do metric units on our videos moment of revenge.
Okay, so 8 ounces is 1 cup. 8 ounces is not quite 200, it's like 240 milliliters. So 240 divided by 4 is 60. So 240 plus 60 is 300 milliliters. 300 milliliters. Nice.
I didn't follow any of that.
I've never had this meal from Pinnacle before. Oh my God, but it looks amazing. Check that out, man. Look at that. Golly. While my food is rehydrating, I'm actually gonna take what's left in my Nalgene, which is about 22 ounces of water, and I'm going to make some LMNT. LMNT is actually the sponsor of this video, and as you all know, I absolutely adore LMNT electrolytes, and for me, they are such a crucial part of hiking for me. Our hike in today was actually quite hot, and I was sweating a ton, so even though I drank a lot of water, I still found that I was getting like sore, I could feel a headache kind of coming on, and I knew that I needed to replenish my electrolytes. So I'm finally taking the time to do that now that we are at camp. I'm adding in one of LMNT's raspberry salt packets. LMNT is incredible because it has lots of sodium, but it has no sugar in it, and it still manages to taste absolutely delicious. I like making my LMNT with somewhere around like 20 ounces of water or so, but if you don't want it to be as strong and salty, you can always use more water. Oh. LMNT has actually been sponsoring my channel for a very long time, and I love them so much and totally believe in the product that they make. But if you haven't yet had a chance to try LMNT, you can actually go to the link below, which is drinklmnt.com/Miranda Goes Outside, and place an order for one of their electrolyte drink mix packets, and you'll actually get a sample pack of 8 of their most popular flavors. Make sure to also check out their sparkling water electrolytes. We are in love with the black cherry lime flavor of the sparkling LMNT. I'm gonna pound this, and then we're gonna hopefully be ready for dinner. I am finally in my tent and in my sleeping bag, getting ready to go to bed. So far today, there were a couple pieces of Decathlon gear that I was super impressed by. One of them actually being the wool shirt and the pants that I wore. Also the hiking shoes. They are definitely different than my usual hiking shoes and narrower than what I tend to like in hiking shoes. But for the cost, I was really impressed by how comfortable they were. And then I am just completely in love with those camp sandals. I am so jazzed on those. This is a super creepy shot, and I'm sorry about that. Here's to hopefully a cozy night in this Decathlon sleeping bag on this Decathlon sleeping pad, and with my head on this very crinkly Decathlon pillow. All right, I'll see you all in the morning. Good night. Oh, who's that? Oh, hello. I'll be out in just a second, okay? Good morning. It is 6:30 in the morning. The sun is very much up. I was very cold last night and not super comfortable. I'm gonna get some coffee before I like properly give you an assessment. There's Rainer. Yeah. Shh. There's people. Yeah. This is actually not coffee. It is an Alpine Start Dirty Chai. We're just trying to switch it up a little bit. I actually really like this size of this titanium mug, and I also love that this fits into my baby bear canister. Am I sold on this? Do I like this better than my usual pot? Yum. Oh man, I got sap on my sleeping bag. Boom. There was something that I noticed on this sleeping bag this morning that I wanted to show you. Where is it? Ah, yes. You can see that the synthetic insulation is already coming out at the seams. At first I thought it was Tucker dog hair, but it's not. It's insulation. Or like loose threads like this. I feel like the biggest thing that I've noticed about this sleeping bag versus some of the other Decathlon stuff that I've used on this trip is that a brand can make some things affordable and still really high quality, and they can make other things that are affordable and are not high quality. And I kind of think that this sleeping bag might be the latter. Needless to say, I am unimpressed with this sleeping bag. All right, let's pack this thing in. Okay. This pad itself it's not uncomfortable, but it is extremely firm. So I feel like it's maybe ideal for a certain type of sleeper, but just like overall, not my favorite, to be honest. This pillow was way more comfortable than I expected, and I actually didn't notice the sound of it at all last night. I'm not gonna tell you just yet like whether or not it will make it into my core kit, but as far as like an inexpensive, good inflatable pillow, this is probably the best one I've ever used. Now I just need to pack my pillow, get myself dressed, take down my tent, and finish packing up my bag. I have a full day of hiking still to kind of assess this gear. I already have some pretty strong opinions about this Decathlon gear, but when I get home, I will let you know officially which of this budget Decathlon gear I would recommend you buy. Goodbye, beautiful view. So, how did this budget gear from Decathlon perform? Overall, I was actually pretty impressed with most of the stuff from Decathlon, but there were a couple of pieces that I really didn't like. So let's start with those. Overall, this sleeping bag was just not comfortable. It wasn't just that I was cold at night, it was more that the material itself feels bad, and the hood of the sleeping bag and this whole like neck area has all of these little strings that are like coming off that kept kind of hitting me in the face. There was this heavy piece of plastic and this stiff material that was like constantly rubbing up against my face. The zippers were really annoying to undo. And yeah, I found that overall, I did not enjoy sleeping in this sleeping bag. Now let's talk about my sleeping pad. This 4-class sleeping pad was probably one of the biggest disappointments on this entire trip. This sleeping pad costs only 50 bucks. I was immediately really concerned about this because the R value on this, or the insulation value, is only 2.7, which really makes this more of a warm weather, 1, maybe 2 season sleeping pad. What I didn't anticipate is that the warmth wasn't the biggest problem that I had with this sleeping pad. It felt like I was sleeping on a board the entire night, and it wasn't necessarily that I could deflate the sleeping pad at all to like allow it to kind of move with my body. It was more just that the foam of the pad, the thin design of it, it just was not comfortable.
Even at $50?
Yeah, even that's $50 that I could have spent buying $50 worth of sushi. Those are really the 2 big things I didn't like, but there is one other small thing that I didn't think was worth the cost, and that is this 4-class headlamp. This headlamp costs $20. You can get a headlamp that costs twice as much money, but is going to be twice as many lumens and weigh half as much as this headlamp. And in my opinion, that's a far better use of funds than buying a kind of cheap, kind of dim, definitely uncomfortable headlamp like this one. That's my opinion on the 4-class headlamp. I do not think that this headlamp is worth 20 bucks. When I was out there backpacking, I actually found that I really liked this little pot. It was very convenient. It packs down easily into my bear canister. It's super small and cute, and it was fun to drink from. And so my perspective on it was like, yeah, this little thing is great. And I only spent $25 on it. But then I got home and I started looking at other options out there for titanium pots. And as it turns out, there are a number of titanium pots with a larger liquid capacity than this one that really are not that much more expensive. So if I was smart, I would have not bought this little pot, and I would have instead spent a little bit more money, even like a few dollars more, to buy something that was going to be actually a proper, good size capacity mug and pot. Now let's talk about my clothing. So the wool t-shirt and the pants that I wore from Decathlon actually served me really, really well. The wool t-shirt cost only $40, which is a screaming deal on a wool t-shirt. If you're looking for wool, if you're really curious about wool as a backpacker, then this is definitely an awesome price point. The pants, I think, were also $40, and I actually found them to be pretty comfortable. But the way that they fit my body was not ideal. I found them to be a little bit snug in my thighs, and they kind of gapped weirdly at the back of my waist. So I think that these are really suited for a very specific body type. One thing I want to mention about both of these pieces of clothing is that I wound up buying a women's size large. I am generally a US size medium, and these don't really have that wide of a size range. So if they work for your body, amazing, but I kind of dock them points just for the fact that the size range is really not that inclusive. Next up, I want to talk about my shoes. These shoes were one of the biggest surprises that I had on this trip. I actually found these to be super, super comfortable. One downside, these are waterproof shoes, and I definitely felt like my feet were getting pretty hot and sweaty, but still, heck of a shoe. Very, very cozy to wear. Now, I cannot speak to their durability because I only took them on one trip, but I am super excited to keep using these and see how they hold up over a multitude of miles. Because initially, my thought on them is that that's a great deal. Now, sticking with footwear, let's talk about my sandals from Decathlon. I was absolutely in love with these on our trip, but when I came home, I realized something that I didn't catch ahead of time. I was thinking of these 4-class sandals as a replacement for my Tevas, and I was thinking of them as a budget replacement for my Tevas. But in reality, these actually cost $5 more than my Teva sandals. So they're not a budget piece of gear. They're actually a more expensive than my version piece of gear, but just judging them based on how they performed, they were awesome. So I'm getting down to the last couple things here, and we're getting into some of the stuff that I truly loved. I am probably the most surprised out of anyone that one of those things on that list is this pillow. This Decathlon pillow cost only $10. And I am very, very particular about my pillows, so I expected to hate this, but I actually found it to be super comfortable. This is not going to replace my current favorite backpacking pillow, but if you are someone who doesn't use a backpacking pillow and feels like you can't really justify spending $60 on something like that, then buying this, I think, will vastly improve your camp sleep, and it will for sure not break your budget. Next, I want to mention my fleece and my down jacket. So these two things I think are good to talk about in relation to each other because they do work really well as a layering system. This fleece costs only $40, which is actually slightly less expensive than some of the other budget fleece options that you might find from different brands. But I feel like it's really well made. It's very cozy. It felt high quality. And honestly, it seems like a fantastic piece of gear. This Decathlon 4-class jacket is the only piece of Decathlon gear that I had heard of before I did this video. As it turns out, this jacket is honestly as good as everyone has been saying. It is warm, it is comfortable, it feels really, really well made. And if you buy this jacket and you buy this fleece, you're spending only $140, which is like half the price of some just down jackets out there. We have only one piece of gear left to talk about, and that is my backpack. And in case you haven't guessed yet, this is the piece of gear that I think is a real standout among everything from Decathlon. The reason that I saved this pack for last is that I was so impressed with how comfortable this was on trail. I feel like what Decathlon did is focus all of their energy and the cost of the bag on making something that is really comfortable and feels really high quality. There's a few things that I did miss on this pack. It does only have one hip belt pocket, and I for sure wish there was another hip belt pocket on here. There's also only one water bottle pocket. That's right here. I definitely wish there was another water bottle pocket over here. One thing I absolutely love about it, and the reason that I think it is such a fantastic budget and beginner bag, is this adjustment system in the harness. They have this whole thing that they call the Easy Fit system. And basically the way that it works is that as you tighten the shoulder straps of the pack, the harness itself actually slides up and down. So you essentially tighten the shoulder straps and the entire shoulder system and harness system just hugs itself to you. That means that you don't have to adjust the length of the torso up and down on your own. You just throw the bag on, you pull on these shoulder straps, and it fits you like a glove. I think that that is genius. For only $99, I think that this might be the best budget backpack on the market and also the most comfortable. Now, I was overall really impressed with a lot of the gear that I tried from Decathlon, but this is actually only the first round of testing budget gear that I'm doing. And my goal is actually to test budget backpacking gear from lots of other brands, such as REI, Teton Sports, or even Walmart's house brand. My goal at the end, after testing all of the budget backpacking gear that I can find, is to come up with an ideal budget backpacking kit. There are several things here that I used from Decathlon that I am almost certain are going to make their way into that final kit, but I still have several different brands to try before we get there. So if you liked this video, make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss those videos, and I will see you outside. Bye! I will see you outside.